Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I'm your host, Charles Long, and with me, as always, is my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, and gunner, Jacob Gloth. We're here to pitch you a brand new televisual series for you to imagine in our collective mind space. And today is Jake's turn to pitch a funny TV series about the downfall of democracy, right? That's what we're doing? This is
Not at all.
This is the Very Reasonable Political Pilots podcast now, right?
Just last episode.
No, just last
We're going,
episode.
I'm excited. This is a fun one.
Yeah, I'm excited too, because my heart has been sunken by all of the sadness from the previous episode.
The title is pretty sweet. Ooh. Astronaut Sauce.
Astronaut Sauce.
Pretty good title.
I like that title a lot. Is it one word or is it two words? Is it like one...
Astronaut Sauce?
Yeah, it's
2 words.
Okay. I was like, maybe it could be one word with a hyphen in the middle.
Astronaut Sauce.
Astronaut Sauce. Astro Sauce. Astronaut Sauce. Yeah, I don't know. What is Astronaut Sauce about? Tell me more about Astronaut Sauce.
Well, the title is a reference to a very specific part of the show.
Uh-huh.
So we'll get into it. So, in the pilot, we start off with a guy named Scott. Scott Stein is his name. He's 20 years old. He's a young astrophysicist working in a, what are those things called with the big scopes?
A building.
Observatory. He's working in a university observatory. So he's like a student researcher.
An aquarium.
Graduate student researcher.
Ooh.
Incredibly smart.
Ooh.
He's a very kind person, but he's very introverted. And he questions authority a lot, but only verbally. He's not a physical guy.
Yeah, he doesn't.
He's smart.
He talks a lot. Talks a big game, but he's not backing it up with punches or kicks.
Yeah, well, he doesn't talk himself into a fight. He's just
Yeah.
He's like, dude, you shouldn't be able to do that. And they're like, well, what are you gonna do about it? Well, nothing, but I'll say that you shouldn't.
What are you gonna do about it, starfish? Huh? You dumbass. That's their nickname for him, right?
Yeah, you looking at the sheet?
Yeah.
Well, we'll get there in a second.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
I have some scenes, or not scenes, maybe just some short jokes in the show that we're gonna read the lines for, because it's fun. Why not?
Because
and
it's fun to write
sometimes
things.
the jokes that I write when I'm writing the script, or not the script, but like the premise, it's like you don't really get this when it's written in prose and it's not written as dialogue. So. Yeah. I just want everyone to know that I'm funny. That's basically
Jake's pretty funny sometimes. I'll say that. You know what?
We're about to get up to the first scene here in a second. Excited?
If there was a court case and I had to testify that you were funny, I would be able to do that. I would say yes, Jake is funny sometimes.
Unless I wasn't supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
In that instance, right?
Or unless I was under oath, then I couldn't say that. But if I wasn't under oath, then I would definitely say that you were funny.
Yeah. Thanks, Charles. Appreciate it. Anyway, so he's working in an observatory. He's working on his father's research.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Scott, when he was younger, we'll probably intro this like through him getting into the laboratory and then his professor going like, "Are you still working on your dad's research? Come on, you need to grow up. You need to get past that stuff." Your dad left, 9 years ago. He left when Scott was 11.
Oh. So Scott is...
Scott's like, he didn't leave, he disappeared, something happened, I need to finish his research, find what he finds so that I can understand. And his professor's like, okay, fine, but after this, we're throwing out his work. He's like, okay. Pulls an all-nighter, he's working on the research. His dad was researching these weird signals in space, and so he's looking at them, and just when he starts hearing this weird sound, he's like trying to amplify it and work on it, and just as he's like finally discovering something, he gets beamed up into space.
That's crazy.
He awakes in a chair with 2 starfish-looking aliens staring at him. Charlie, would you do the honor of playing Starfish 1? And I'll be Starfish 2.
You'll be Starfish 2? Fuck yeah.
Do whatever voice you like, I don't care.
Oh, space nuts! It's a small one.
For the last time, Jerry, you don't have to put space in front of everything. You can just say nuts. Adding the space in front doesn't do anything. All nuts are the same.
Yeah, but it sounds cooler.
And then Scott, obviously confused. Where am I? What are you? Am I dead? Geez, man, we got a questioner. Send him through the space conditioning room.
Oh, so if you do it, it's fine.
That's what it's literally called. And so, our two starfish pull a lever.
Yeah.
And he's sent on like an amusement park, like tour ride. You know, if you go to if you go to Hershey Park, you can get on those that ride that brings you around the chocolate factory.
Yeah.
And they show you how everything's made, but you're locked into the seat. And you're like looking at everything around you, like you're on a conveyor belt.
You look at the chocolate reservoir, and you see the little fat boy who's swimming around in the chocolate reservoir gets sucked up a tube. I know.
This isn't Willy Wonka, but there is a ride like this in Hershey Park.
Yeah.
Hershey Park, it's cool.
Hershey Park's great. You get all the chocolate you want.
They're not paying me to say this, but it's a cool place. Hershey Park.
They're not paying you?
Are they paying you?
So Scott's on this ride, right? And then
sure. So he gets on the ride, and a voice is playing over the speaker. I wrote out the whole speech, so prepare. Do you ever wonder why some animals become sentient and others don't? Why carrots are orange and not green? Why the sky is blue and not filled with invading spacecraft? Or why your yogurt tastes funny on Sundays? Well, wonder no longer. Welcome to the answer to all your questions. Welcome to the Astronomical Survey Scheme, or ASS for short. Any shipmates caught using a different pronunciation will be shot. This is a place where your galactic overlords manage, develop, and exterminate pre-space species. We do everything with our elite infiltrator teams. They beam down to planets and restore order. Sometimes restoring order can be messy, so all teams are equipped with a recent graduate of the Fluxian Academy of Military Excellence, or FAME. These soldiers are deadly and frightening, and they'll clean up any silly pre-spacers. Congratulations once again for being chosen to join our amazing team. Whether it's because you volunteered or almost uncovered the whole scheme in a silly research lab, you are family. That's the wonderful speech.
Yeah,
right?
I like it.
So you get the intro to this place called the Astronomical Survey Scheme, as I told you.
And I'm imagining that while this speech is taking place, there is like a Jurassic Park style like animated sequence happening where there's like a little, I don't know, like a little starfish dude, and he's like wearing a tie and a top hat, and he's explaining everything to you.
Yeah, that's like the screen's like in front of you, and all around you there's like
cameras.
There's like robotics moving around and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe some dancing people.
Dancing monster aliens also.
Yeah.
Yeah. We could have like they have an infiltrator team, and they're all like, I don't know, who would be funny? What would be a funny person to have as your infiltrator team?
Well, see, the joke is, we're going to get to that in a second. The joke is that the infiltrator team in this thing looks very professional. And the real one is not very professional.
Oh, okay.
So they all look, they've got a scientist with a lab coat and sunglasses or something. And then you've got a totally massive armor-covered goon. Then you've got like a big, powerful robot.
Yeah, and then
you've got like this animal man thing.
Yeah.
Like a big werewolf-looking
big
guy.
Big werewolf
like,
dude.
Wow, these are like... But they're all, they're dressed smartly. They don't look intimidating. They look professional. Like maybe the giant werewolf guy's got a suit on, and his hair is like slicked back.
The robot's got a cane, and you're like, why does a robot need a cane? He's a robot. And you're like,
glasses on. You're like, he doesn't need that either.
Fucking idiot. Shut up. And then you get smacked in the back of the head by like a robot hand. I don't know why I'm imagining this as having a very, like, it being animated, I'm imagining it having a very Dr. Seuss like style to it. No, that's probably not what you imagined, but I imagined these hands, on like robotic arms, and they're wearing the like white gloves that Dr. Seuss hands always wear.
Yeah.
And it's like picking him up and like patting him on the back, and here's the scabbity bimblum, that sort of thing. But that's that's just me. That's my insane fucking brain.
Okay.
Doing that.
So Scott shot out of the room with like the conveyor belt ride into a big room with like a bed and like a little kitchenette and a destroyed robot in the corner. And he's like confused. He's like, what the hell? I was in one place, then there was giant starfish, and then they explained to me that like I'm now part of like this infiltrator group that manipulates.
Am I part of the CIA?
Civilizations? Like what the hell is this? Is this part of the government? Is this I don't understand.
Is this a psyop? Are we in psyops right now, bro?
So, he spends a lot of time in this room alone because it's like they forgot about him. Or something.
Yeah, that would be
And
funny.
he goes and he rebuilds the robot in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
The robot's name is L4TR, or later.
Oh.
And I got some character traits here.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's like a small desktop PC-shaped robot. So he's like box-shaped, a good what is that, like 1.5 feet maybe?
Yeah, about 1.5 feet tall. He's got like maybe wheels on the bottom.
Like maybe 25 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
20, 25 pounds. He's cute and friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice to Scott, obviously, because he repaired him.
Yeah.
And they play some video games together.
Maybe it's like you see he looks like just the robot later looks just like a normal PC computer. And then, you know, he shows like, this is my whole family. And he comes from a family of like gaming rigs. And so they all have like the big stupid neon like lights and RGB and like huge dumb fans and everything. And he's like, yeah, I just never really fit in there. So
they can be a big family because maybe they were all built by Jonathan, which is what I originally had it down as. So this later was originally built by Jonathan as a companion. Mm-hmm. Jonathan Stein being the father of Scott Stein. We'll get there in a second.
Yeah.
And he repaired by Scott just now. He's cute, obviously, as I just said,
Very marketable.
I kind of imagine him like BMO in Adventure Time.
Yeah.
He can hack into most computers, and he wants to be human-like. He kind of sees himself as Scott's little brother. Mm-hmm. It's not creepy he wants to be human-like. It's just like he does human things.
Yeah.
Like he tries to eat food.
If this were my show, he would like be cutting people's skin off and wearing it to try and be more human.
It's not that. He's cute.
Not.
He just tries to like eat food and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's adorable.
He like wears a hat and socks or whatever. And he's like, I'm just like you, Scott. And he's like, oh, you come here, buddy. And then they hug.
Later and him are like becoming friends, and that's when Jonathan bursts in. Jonathan Stein, the father of Scott. Scott's like, what the hell, Dad? You're here. He's like, yes, I am here, obviously.
What are you doing in my apartment?
So Jonathan Stein reveals that he was also beamed up, 9 years ago when he was working on his research.
Yeah.
And he started off as an infiltrator like Scott is about to be. And he eventually worked himself up to being the ED, or executive director, of one of the ships for the Astronomical Survey Scheme. Mm-hmm. And he explains that it's sort of just like this initiative by the overlords of the entire universe, this like advanced civilization, to control and manipulate all other species, sentient or non-sentient, and especially those that aren't spacefaring yet.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the whole plan isn't really clear. It doesn't really make any sense. Mm-hmm. They're not really sure if they are trying to help other people reach space travel or if they're not. It's all just weird. The only thing that's really fully explained is that they try to influence
non-spacefaring
species to becoming humanoid looking.
Okay.
So most, because I kind of want to make this live action.
Yeah.
Most species are going to be humanoid because, and the explanation is because the Astronomical Survey Scheme demands it.
Okay. And
like they influence the creation of people.
Yeah. Maybe
and so humans being humanoid looking isn't like they're not special. We're not, making them. We're not all, trying to replicate what the humans look like. The humanoids were made to look like that because that's what their overlords look like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like, they're playing like God, where they're like, we got to make them in our image.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Do you have an idea of of what the overlords look like? Because if this is live action, I just think it would be pretty funny if like all this overlord civilization that you never really see, but it's like this group of people or group of aliens that run that own the universe. And they're like, this is the perfect being. They have, transcended evolution and have reached the pinnacle of existence. And, they're all wearing these cloaks. And eventually you see them, they take the cloak off, and they all look like Mike Myers. They all look like Mike Myers. Yeah, the actor Mike Myers. You get Mike Myers to play this entire civilization of, unknowable beings of, a higher plane of existence. And they all just look like the guy who plays Shrek. I think that would be funny.
Maybe, yeah.
Or
Well, we don't actually see them in this season at all.
okay.
So
Okay, good.
maybe in season 2.
Maybe in season
we can
2.
go that. I think that in season 2 would be more have to do with them and like understanding the survey more.
Yeah.
Season 1 is definitely just all about the crazy places they're sent and the weird missions.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jonathan Stein, as I was saying, he was a kind and loving father when he was actually on Earth, but now he's kind of gone crazy. He's very like tweaky. It's like he's lost his mind a little bit because of the human isolation and denial that has like seeped through his mind that he's never going to see his son again and stuff.
Yeah.
And his wife. He's still incredibly smart, and he's very dedicated to the cause of the Astronomical Survey Scheme.
Even though he doesn't really know what it is.
It seems like he does as the executive director.
Okay.
But he can't explain it really to Scott, and Scott's trying to get him to explain it throughout the show.
Like, he can't explain it, or he doesn't want to? He's like, oh, we'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it later.
It's kind of like both.
Okay.
Where he's like, he uses words so complex and that absolutely mean nothing in the end too, as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes sense. And maybe we could have it be like the way that time functions where they are is different from the way that time functions on Earth. So it's been 11 years, you said, since he's disappeared. So maybe he only looks 11 years older than he did when he disappeared, but it's actually been like 40 years for him just because of the way time dilation works. Because, I think that might be a little bit easier to explain why he acts so, erratic and strange, and why he's become so obsessed with this cause, is that it's all he's known for the past 40 years or whatever.
Yeah, so he looks like 45, but he's
90 something.
He's been there for like 30 years or something.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's...
Anyway, so he explains to him that, like, in the beginning he got abducted and he worked his way to the top so he could see Scott again, but he decided not to because he didn't want Scott to join ASS, because if you get on the ship you have to join.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it works. And Scott's like, well, but like, and then Jonathan's explaining this. It's like, and then you went and you got on here anyway, so that's great and also terrible. But anyway, let's move on. Let's meet your team. And he's like, what? My team? Scott, by the way, he's surprised, but not too impacted by this because he didn't really have a lot going on at Earth.
Yeah, he
spent like his entire life trying to find his dad, and then he didn't really have a lot of friends or anything.
Mm-hmm. His only, like, he's really worried about his he's got cockatoos at home, and then we just do a like quick cut to his house, and like the inside of his house has been absolutely destroyed by his birds, which have like shit everywhere and like torn up the couch, and they're flying out the window. Yeah. And he's like, yep, that's everything I had. Well, my team? You said I had a team?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's where he meets his first and only teammate, Brett.
Oh, God.
And, Jonathan quickly explains, and he's like, or Scott's like, oh, I thought I had like a whole big team. Yep. And he's like, no. We're a little short-staffed. Not a lot of people discovering the station. And also, we've recently begun erasing their memory and sending them back, so not a whole lot of people. Anyway, this is Brett. Brett is is the soldier, the graduate of the Fame Academy.
Hi, my name is Brett.
Brett's a girl.
Hi,
Brett Belters, 21.
Oh, okay.
Is the age that I got. Gunslinging, yellow humanoid girl, kind of like Gamora-like in a way.
But she looks like the yellow Teletubby. Like, that's the kind of
And this
yellow.
is where we'll get the humanoid explanation, where he'll be like, whoa, you're humanoid. And he'll be like, yeah, everyone's humanoid. That's just, most sentient life is humanoid.
Yeah.
The ones that aren't, they're anomalies. But he's like the starfish? He's like, yes, like the starfish.
The starfish
most
guys are
humanoid,
dicks.
though, because the scheme encourages it.
Yeah.
He's like, why does the scheme encourage it? I don't know.
Listen, man, I just work here, dude. I just shoot things. You're the sciencey one, so you figure that shit out, man. It would be funny.
So she's only with the scheme as part of a 4-year tour as part of the military school.
Okay.
That she's in. Complains all the time about being in the scheme. She hates the job. She's rash but skilled and likes to solve problems with violence.
Okay. Maybe she comes from her civilization. While they're human, like their whole thing is war. Like they're who are those guys from Star Trek where their whole deal is war? The Gungans.
I just said Spartans from.
No, the Gungans.
Gungans?
Yeah, the
That's the people
Gungans
from
Star Trek.
Star Wars.
No, the Gungans from Star Trek.
Spartans from Sparta would be.
Yeah.
Good.
So they're all about war. So that's how she, maybe that's how she solves all her problems. Or
Lacedaemonians, as they're called.
oh, or she's
That's the word for the Spartans.
Oh.
Anyway,
I didn't know that.
learning stuff today.
I'm learning all sorts of new
Lacedaemonians.
things. Lacedaemonians. They Lacedaemonians.
Ians. Anyway,
Yeah.
Brett Belters, Scott Stein, that's the team. Jonathan's like, well, I guess you could bring Later as well. So Later is now also part of the team.
Yeah.
They're short-staffed, so it's literally anything goes at this point.
They give Later a gun. Later shoots himself in the foot, and they take Later's gun away. So you can't have a gun anymore later.
No guns for Later.
You can have this. They give him like a cap gun. He thinks
cap
he's
gun,
helping. He's not.
He's not helping at all. And here we got the next scene coming up soon in a second.
Ooh.
Everyone's excited. Everyone's waiting for this.
I am waiting for this.
So, you got Brett, you got Later, and you got Scott now. And they're told their task by Jonathan, who's obviously like the team leader as the executive director. And they're tasked with Jonathan's not actually coming down to the planet. He'll come down on every once in a while to adventures, but he's not coming down on this one.
Yeah.
They're tasked with helping a planet of blob people build pyramids.
Okay.
And just before they drop, Jerry is handed a pig by Starfish 2, Mr. Jerry, the guy from earlier.
Yeah,
Wait, what did I just say?
Starfish.
Scott is
yeah.
handed a pig by Jerry. Jerry is the starfish from earlier.
Yeah, Starfish 2 or
So they're getting in like this drop pod.
Yeah.
Jerry comes up and just thrusts a pig into his arms.
Yeah.
And Scott goes, This is a pig.
Wow. What an awful thing to say to your new teammate. His name's Oinkers. Not like you asked. At least try to build some team chemistry. Slam.
And the door shuts. And as they're being dropped down, he's like, no, I mean, this is literally a pig. So now they have their new teammate, whose name's Oinkers.
Yeah.
And
he's
that's the
big.
intro for Oinkers.
Yeah.
Oinkers is an earth pig. As we will discover in this episode, has limited sentience. But speaks in oinks, so no one can understand it.
Maybe he was...
So Oinkers can understand you,
Yeah.
but you can't understand Oinkers.
Okay. I'm trying to think of how he got onto the ship, how close he came to solving the problem, and maybe he broke into a lab, he was a test pig, and he just ate some of the math homework, and so that the aliens were like, oh, this has to be the being that's broken the code. I mean, look at him, he's so interested in those papers, and it's just Oinkers chewing on some paper.
Yeah.
And they suck him up.
Trying to consume the knowledge. I've never seen a being do it literally. And the starfish is like, well, actually, there was the Velopians on Cloud 8 that ate knowledge.
Yeah, it was a delicacy. Oh my god, it was gorgeous. They ate it with
maybe
chopsticks.
This Oinkers, as he calls himself, may be able to do this.
Can you understand me, being of great intelligence? Going to take that as a yes. Welcome to the team. And then into the pod he goes, down to the ship.
The pod he goes.
Yeah.
So they fall down to the planet of blob people, like gelatinous, jello-looking things, and they're in an area that looks very similar to Egypt, which Scott immediately says, this looks exactly like Egypt, and later educates him. It's like, well, actually, the ASS makes most planets go through the same formula. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, ancient times, you got Egypt. And then, you get up and all the other stuff,
They always...
He's like, wait, most of the stuff the same? Yeah, you had World War I and II, right, on your planet? He's like, yeah, we did. Yeah,
What if there was
That's
like
everywhere.
you had the Great War on your planet, right? Like the Great, the World War between every country in you're from Earth, Europe, right? They all fought. Yeah, we had 2 of them. Wait, you had 2 world wars? Yeah, I mean we didn't exactly get all of our warring out after the first one.
And he's like, oh, crap, that must have been a miscalculation. There's only supposed to be 1 of those.
Oh, no.
Must have sent...
John's
must
gonna
have
have my
bags in.
ass for this. Okay. Good to know. Thank you for letting me know. Have fun with the blob things or whatever.
Yeah, the starfish,
Yeah.
All right, so they're on the planet. The A and B story of the planet is... later, Scott and Brett are going to try to secretly influence the people. Scott is going to be very unconvinced by the whole thing because he's just been put in this role, and he's sort of still grappling with it morally and emotionally because he just saw his father.
Mm-hmm.
And his arc in this episode is going to be him like finally being like, all right, yeah, I'll do this. So Later and Brett are kind of in charge on that side, which is the problem because Scott's the scientist, so he's supposed to be, he's
team leader.
Should be taking charge because he's, like, Brett's gonna shoot people, and Later's there for computers, but there is no computers because they're in Egypt.
This is all fucking rocks.
So Scott should be in charge, but he's not because he's, grappling with these problems.
Mm-hmm.
And while this is happening, they're trying to secretly influence people. They leave oinkers at some point. Like, they probably land and they just drop oinkers and they're like, that's just a pig, right?
Yeah.
We'll just leave it. And the locals declare oinkers a god.
Yes, that's good. Maybe.
And so, it ends up with Scott, Later, and Brett getting captured as they try to secretly influence the people to make pyramids.
Mm-hmm.
And it's revealed to them that Oinkers is now the god, and they were going to be sacrificed for Oinkers.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like begging Oinkers, like, please don't kill us, Oinkers, we're sorry. Scott like apologizes and promises that they'll make him a team member now.
Mm-hmm. He'll even get his own jacket. He'll get
Scott. Yeah, he get a jacket. They promise him a windbreaker.
Yeah, a nice windbreaker, maybe a fashionable cap.
Yeah.
We promise, Oinkers, we'll put you in the title sequence. Just let us live. Oinkers, please.
That's a good meta joke. I like that.
Yeah.
And then Oinkers frees them and orders the building of the pyramids.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the conclusion. And they'll get back to Jonathan and be like, how did you do, Scott? He's like, it was all me, of course. And Oinkers is like oinking at him, trying to say like it was me. He had nothing to do with it. And he's like, haha, ignore Oinkers.
Yeah.
And he whispers, he's like, I'll get you a windbreaker, okay? Please, just let me take credit for this.
Oinkers just like unties his shoes. Like when he's not looking.
Now, no one can understand Oinkers, but I think it'd be funny if Oinkers can be understood by the audience, so there's subtitles.
Yeah, he's got
Oinkers.
subtitles. That would be good.
That'd be good.
And maybe Oinkers is like constantly asking for bacon. He doesn't know what it's made out of, but he loves it. It's delicious.
No, jeez, we're not doing that.
This
isn't human meat.
I
Charles.
just love cannibalism so darn much.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut that out and paste it everywhere.
Yes, good.
That little line of Charlie.
It's my favorite thing.
Anyway, you're free to contribute some ideas here because I'm gonna be just rattling off.
Okay.
My episode ideas for where they're going to manipulate places. One planet they're gonna start Bear Scientology, so we're gonna do like the origins of Scientology.
Yeah. Okay.
For bears. They're gonna make up this religion for them and like set it up.
Mm-hmm. Maybe there's a civilization that's like it's they put the puzzle pieces into place and then they leave it for a bit to let the civilization do itself, and this one civilization has just stalled seemingly at colonial times. Like they've been at colonial times for like 2,000 years. For whatever reason they haven't improved at all, so they have to go down to the planet and figure out why. And the way that they solve that problem is by introducing pants to this civilization. Like it's exactly like colonial times, except nobody's wearing any pants.
That'd be funny. They try a few other things first. They try wars. They try
like diseases,
famine. They try new inventions, but nothing seems to stick. But pants, pants is what finally gets them
as soon as they like find, as soon as they introduce pants and like their people are like, man, my balls are really much less cold now. Maybe I could build a telephone. Or something like that.
Yeah. Jeans. That's the invention. We gotta go more specific. Blue jeans. That's jeans. What it is.
Yeah,
that's what they give them. Mm-hmm. I've got doing Lizard Watergate and succeeding. So Watergate on a planet of lizards. They have to break into a hotel and let Richard Nixon win an election. Mm-hmm. And they all feel pretty slimy about it. Ho-ho. Anyway.
Maybe they could see Lizard Forrest Gump.
Lizard Forrest Gump.
Like they just...
Well, I've got them shooting Tree JFK.
I was going to say, my next idea was going to be they have to assassinate JFK.
So they go to kill Tree JFK, but they can't do it. And he gets shot anyway.
Oinker shoots him. It's a mysterious, shooter from
mysterious assassin.
Yeah.
That only we know of. They think it was just some random person in the world. Yeah. But we know it was Oinkers.
And you see Oinker's he's, loading the rifle and he's pulling it back with his mouth. And it's it's a very belabored, he's a pig and he's somehow managing to load, aim, and fire a gun. So it takes him 30 minutes to get all set up and everything. It's got to be a perfect shot. Come and get it.
It's very methodical. He sets it up with his mouth, pulls the bolt back with his mouth, lifts a bolt and bullet, and kindly just slightly drops it into the slot.
He pays off the Secret Service.
Fires and kills him. Yeah.
Oinkers is the best.
You have a whole montage of stuff like that. We've got tracking down a rogue ASS agent who declared himself a god on a primitive world. So you've got this dude who has sci-fi weapons and has convinced a huge population of early people that he's a god and they all worship him and do whatever he wants. Yeah. And he's trying to build an army to challenge the ASS.
He's trying to build a spaceship, but he was a soldier one. He came from fame, so he doesn't actually know how any of the science stuff works. And the only scientists are they invented, measuring things by putting it into a bucket of water. That's the most recent invention that they had. So it's man, build a spaceship. It's oh fuck, okay. We're really trying very hard, sir, but I have no idea how to do this. We could have we have a civilization that's, they need to, the populace is becoming too, this is going to be funny. This is going to be mean. The populace is becoming too intelligent and too well-read, so they have to flood the populace with vapid meaningless media, so they create I don't know what the seagull version of Iron Man. They create the MCU in this universe because that's how they managed to stall this civilization.
That'd be funny.
And it's that'd be hilarious. They get a seagull version of Robert Downey Jr. and it's he spent so many years in seagull prison, and they all just call
him Jason Segel.
Yeah. Oh my God. He's the greatest actor of all time. Mm-hmm. He was in How I Met Your Seagull Mother.
Yeah. And how we could do a lot of spin-offs.
Yeah, that'd be great.
A lot of spin-offs
jokes,
derivations like that.
Yeah,
a lot of jokes. My last one and my favorite, which the title comes from, is there's one civilization that's on the verge of becoming a space-faring world, but the ASS doesn't want them to be, and they send astronauts out into space to a planet near theirs. But when they land there, they as they're going through the atmosphere, the cloud of the screen that projects the fake sky above their world, the fake galaxy above their world, breaks, and they're revealed that the planet that they thought was uninhabited next to them that they're going to explore for scientific research, their Mars essentially, is a fully fledged massive city world of the main civilization.
Okay, yeah, that'd be fun.
And they get there and they land and they're what the hell? And they're so surprised, and they're trying to talk to people, and they're hey, we're from
Sklurp.
Mirth. We'll call it
Mirth. Okay, Mirth is better than Sklurp.
Mirth, and no one on that place cares.
Yeah.
No one cares at all.
You fucking hillbillies. Yeah.
And they actually all end up in an insane asylum because no one believes them.
Oh, okay.
And they think they're insane.
I like that.
Nah, those people, they don't have space flight. You're not going there.
Mm-hmm.
So they end up in an insane asylum. And our crew gets there and essentially gives them a choice. This episode is mainly going to be following the astronauts. It's kind of like a
bit like
separation episode.
It sounds like a bit of like an episode of the Twilight Zone almost. You know,
Maybe,
these like scientists and astronauts come over and they're just like.
Well, it's based off of a story by a short story by Ray Bradbury.
I was going to say that it reminds me very much of a story from the Martian Chronicles.
So they get there and they're like, hey, so we give you a choice. You can either stay here and you can live here.
Yeah.
And just join this civilization. You can get jobs pretty easily. Because they're isn't this a worker shortage happening right now?
Yeah.
And so you could live here. Or we can wipe your memory with this juice we got and send you home. And they choose to go home.
Maybe
That's where the name comes from. Astronaut Sauce, the juice that they drink.
Oh, okay. I was like waiting for them to be like, actually, we can't send you back home because, you know, you'll just discover it again. So they just like get blended up, like they get blendered.
I don't want the show to be too like gory.
Yeah,
you know?
I appreciate that.
You can't just kill people all the time. You know, it's kind of.
I know, but I think it would be
insanity
funny if you got the civilization to believe that space turns you into juice. Like space is just a giant blender. Like they're all too terrified to go back into space because they think that if you go into space, you get blended into a big soup, into astronaut sauce. Like,
but they wipe their minds and they go home and they implant some new memories, and the new memories are basically like, there's nothing there, nothing to it, nothing in space, and that's what convinces this world that like, we don't need to go to space.
Yeah,
the astronauts went to Mars, nothing there, it's just a rock. Just every other planet's just rocks. They said. Mm-hmm. It's all rocks.
Yeah, that'd be good. I like that. I have a few ideas that are like more playing off of like more similar to the JFK one. Like if they go to a world and like in order to keep the world back or help them move forward or whatever, they make the Mandela effect happen. So they go in and they like assassinate a civil rights leader, or not assassinate, but they he dies at one point, and then they, go forward 30 years into the future due to time dilation and start convincing everyone that he's still alive. And so the Mandela effect happens, but we have to come up with a funnier name for it.
Yeah, they replace him with like a shape-shifting blob.
Yeah.
Who can pretend to be him for a few years and then die.
Yeah. And or they in order to, make this vapid capitalist society that has, its entire, every piece of the civilization is focused at making money. It's like, well, we need to create the ultimate business for the civilization to flourish, and they just make Starbucks. And it's just like, oh, well, he just made Starbucks. Do you guys want to get a cup of coffee?
That'd be funny. You make Starbucks on a planet that's lagging behind, and they need to increase their productivity.
Yeah.
So they give them coffee.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Starbucks.
Because I think it would be fun. I don't know how bad of a people I think that these characters should be. Because there's certainly...
These people are all good people.
Yeah, because the premise certainly has a lot of room for them to be absolute monsters, but I don't think that they should be absolute monsters. So I think that all of the changes they make to these civilizations should not be outwardly negative. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see. It's the idea is that they're not just murdering people. They're not like assassins. They're just slightly helping or manipulating civilizations to do certain things.
They're making it so...
And sometimes it's just weird. And most of the time it's just weird things.
Yeah,
like they're just setting up they, get people to dress like they do in the Victorian period, but they're all a bunch of Planet of blob people.
Yeah, or blob people, and they all have to wear bonnets and like waistcoats and stuff, or like they have to make sure that everyone on this planet reads left to right except for one island on one side of the planet, which has to read right to left. Like, that's how they make it happen.
Yep.
It's just
like weird stuff, or like,
weird stuff.
Influencing which species make it to the sentient age and stuff like that.
Yeah, they, in order to help this civilization, they have to, take apart this massive corporation that has purchased every piece of intellectual property, and it's just a very, very thin making fun of Disney. It's just like this huge conglomerate of like intellectual property.
I don't want to go too dystopian, I feel like we do that all the time, so I don't want to do something different.
You're right.
So I don't want every planet to be a different dystopia.
Yeah, you're right.
Because we've done that before, and I feel like I don't want to overplay that. So it's kind of, these civilizations aren't all messed up. They're just in different parts of development, and they're influencing them.
And they're being weird. They're like, all right, everyone, we have to create this spaghetti western, and so they just like give a bunch of cowboys guns that shoot spaghetti instead of bullets.
Yeah.
Just weird stuff that doesn't always need to make sense, because you know what? The universe doesn't make sense. And then
they change one civilization to candy people. Everyone in the whole thing is candy people.
Yeah, and then they forget that this planet still rains, and so all the candy people melt because of the rain. And they're like, shit.
Yep. And, like, oh, crap.
And then they have to.
So now they're all like but they don't die.
No, they're just sugar people.
They're just sugar poles now on the ground.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, maybe that was the grand scheme's plan in the first place, the survey's plan.
And then you go back to Jonathan, and he's like, yeah, that was my plan all the time.
That was good.
I don't know.
Anyway, let's move on.
All right. See ya. Bye. And they, fly up. And Oinkers is just like licking a pool of sugar on the ground. They're like, ow, my leg. Stop. And then they fly away. Yeah, I like so are you thinking this will be live action, right? Or animated?
It would be cool. Animation is probably more practical.
Yeah, well,
for all the weird settings and everything.
I agree. But it would be fun if maybe on the ship is live action, and then when they go to the planets, it's animated.
All right, that's insane.
Well, this is an insane show.
It's insane, but it's I like the idea.
I like the idea too.
It is insane.
It seems fun, like a fun show that you could just turn on. On the weekend and just watch. And you don't have to know everything about all of the different things, but you can figure it out,
Yeah.
I like it.
All right, well, that's the show. Astronaut Sauce, one of my favorite titles that I've...
Honestly, one of the best titles we've had.
Astronaut
Sauce. I would like some astronaut sauce with my chips, please. Yum, 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 yum. It's like brown sauce, but made of real astronauts. All right, well, thank you all. Brown sauce.
But made
from real astronauts, like dino nuggets made out of real dinosaurs.
Anyways, this has been your co-host, Jake, of the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. With you, as always, is your host, Charles Lung, who's going to outro us in 3, 2, 1.
Thank you all for listening. We've had a great time pitching Astronaut Sauce to you. If you like what you heard and you want to hear more, please give us a like, a follow, subscribe on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, iTunes. Those are the same thing, I think. I don't know. Please tell a friend, tell an enemy, tell your dog, tell your cat all about this TV show and how you think it would be a pretty fun TV show to watch. And please, from the bottom of my heart, not Jake's heart, Jake doesn't care about you, but I do. From the bottom of my heart, stay safe out there, folks, because you never know when you might get abducted by starfish people and have to, join a weird super civilization CIA situation. And it'd be fun, probably. And there'd be a pig. Thank you. Good night.